Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we had a pretty big offseason for the most part so far. Like in terms of the draft, we decided to trade away Kavanaugh, we traded away Pitton. Then in free agency, we decided to get rid of Cale Makar, let him walk, same with Lafreniere. And we also signed a bunch of our young prospects to long-term deals, and I'm really liking our cap situation with this team. Because, like, if you look at our forward core, pretty much the only UFA next season that's really that important is Frank Nazar. Everybody on this team is pretty much under contract next season, which is awesome. And in a defensive standpoint, we got a really nice young defensive core. And, like, we have at the moment these four signed. We also have Ovechkin and Niittymaki who are currently qualified, but I can honestly give these guys long-term deals as well. No problem at some stage, too. And yeah, just very excited to see what this team does. Obviously, we could pick up some good players in this offseason as well. And hopefully we have a really good season ahead of us and a better playoffs too, considering last year we had a great season, but then the playoffs, this team just fell apart. So I'm really hoping that we could do much better in the postseason next year. Also, this team is still really young too. You can see mostly everybody on our roster is below 30 years old. So the only one that's 30 and older is Nazar, and he's 30. So, yeah, just very excited to see what Vance obviously could do, what we end up bringing in the free agency pool, which there is a very interesting player that some of you know about, considering we were talking about him on the Discord server. Speaking of which, if you have not joined yet, you should join. I did start putting a little like pop-up thing in my videos, just so that way maybe it entices you a little bit more to join. But it's been a lot of fun running that Discord so far. Like a lot of talking about awesome stuff with like NHL, sometimes MLB related stuff, but in general, just a good time to hang out. So if you want to go join, please go do so. The link is always in the description. But yeah, let's get into first one comment that I had in last episode. So that is from HockeyGuy88, who says, I say you go after McDavid. He'd be a great playmaker for Vance. And that might be the guy I'm alluding to. Obviously, Hockey Guy knows about it because he was talking in the Discord. But yeah, Connor McDavid is the guy I'm thinking of actually bringing into this team. So, obviously, it's kind of weird because we'll have to demote somebody from the top line. However, think of this top line. Vance on the wing, McDavid down the middle, Reefers also on the wing, just because Reefers is a really good shooter. I think it would be an insane top line. Then you would move like Nazar to the second line to play with like a Banov and with Recchi. Third line would have like Bales. It would have also youngster and Ziska. Like, I think this team is going to be very exciting next season, especially if we add McDavid to play alongside Vance, because the two of those guys should be a very good complementary piece. The only thing that sucks for us is McDavid is 37, so he will be retiring probably in the next few years, unless he plays to like 40 something. But anyways, that is the guy I'm alluding to. So let's get to free agency and make some signings, because we also need to sign a few depth pieces, I think. I wrote down a projection of our roster, and I think I wanted a fourth liner as well, and some depth, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. So yeah, I got to sign McDavid, I got to sign a fourth line center, and a depth forward, I think, and then a depth defenseman. And then all of our RFAs should accept, because we have 30 million in cap space, letting go of Lafreniere and Makar. So let's go to centers. And yeah, Connor McDavid, you are going to be joining the Chicago Blackhawks. First and foremost, so how have you won a Stanley Cup yet? I think you have, because people in the Discord were wondering about that. He's had a crazy career so far, 1,800 points. Has he won a cup? He might have in 2031. I don't know for certain, though. He also could have technically won one here, but I don't know if he did. Probably not. Looks like he could have won in 2024-25, though. He could have multiple Stanley Cup rings at this point already, so he might bring something that this team doesn't have, and that is a Stanley Cup champion. So we'll do 1 year. We're going to give him like $12 million because he should accept. And obviously there's no other teams interested in him, but I just want to be sure. So we'll give you $12 million of our $30 million cap space, and you should accept that there, Connor. And then, like I said, we'll need to find ourselves a fourth line center to play alongside Pakish Slotty and probably Little. I'm not 100% sure who else will be on that fourth line. Actually, maybe not Little. Little might be actually a depth forward, so we might not need a depth forward, actually. We need just a fourth line center, and that's pretty much it. And then a depth defenseman, if I'm not mistaken. So fourth line center-wise, What do we want to bring in? Probably somebody that fits the young code in a sense, or we could bring in a grizzled veteran. Jeremy Brooks looks solid, power forward. I'm looking more for maybe a two-way forward though, because we don't have a lot of defensive options in that bottom six, so I feel like we might give up a lot of goals. So it would be good they find somebody defensive. Wow, a 23-year-old UFA. I honestly might just bring in this guy since he's only 23. He's coming off of a fantastic year in the AHL as well. I don't know why he wasn't re-signed by the Minnesota Wild. He was a first-round pick, and he's a UFA. Well, we're going to definitely bring you in for our fourth line. He only wants a two-way contract as well, so you got to find like little steals like this. Let's give him a max two-way deal as well, just because we're nice like that. We got to spread the wealth with this team, and he might end up being a Stanley Cup champion playing our fourth line, just because the team decided to let him go. And we'll find ourselves a depth defenseman, somebody probably in the 78 range, just because we obviously don't want somebody competing for ice time with somebody like Spiller. I'm really excited to see what Spiller brings this year, because obviously we have a couple OFDs now in our lineup, and in general our defensive core is pretty awesome. So this guy's listed as a top 60. We do not want a top 6 defenseman. We want a depth defender. Yorth is 33. We're trying to find young players in general. Nicholas Eichel. Solid defensively. No fitting our coach's system. $2 million is kind of expensive for a depth defender. Johansson. 87 defensive awareness. I like that. He only wants 1.8. He's only 25. Let's do it. Let's do it. 1 year though. And we'll give you $2 million because we are also going to give you a nice little bit of money. We're going to spread the wealth to these free agents, give them what they deserve, and they'll get a chance to win a Stanley Cup with this team, potentially. So, or maybe they'll get a chance to be a first-round exit. And then, yeah, our other RFAs right now, Donald's still an RFA, but we should be able to get him back. But the only thing is he's going to be a penny UFA next year, which kind of sucks. But at the same time, he was terrible in the playoffs, so I don't really know if I want to sign him long-term. But let's advance a few days and see if we get Connor McDavid especially, and then the other two. But McDavid would be really nice to play alongside Asher Vance. Like, can you just imagine, like, I feel like Asher Vance could be like a 60-goal plus man. Obviously, he's already been a 60-goal man without McDavid. So with McDavid, maybe he could hit 70. It's a possibility. So let's advance a few days, see if we get those guys, and then we will sim up to next season and get our lines set up. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what happens. I think this is definitely going to be the year for our team to break out. So Johansson is accepted, so there is our depth defender and our fourth line center. And now we're just waiting on Connor McDavid. Let me see if any other teams have ventured to sweepstakes for McDavid. One other team. Oh boy, I can't see who it is. I really hope that we win it. We should be able to, because we are a contending team and all that stuff, and he's going to even make us better. So come on, McDavid, please. Also, Johansson might have went to the Stanley Cup Finals last year because he played 22 games apparently. Let's advance. Come on. Yes, let's go. McDavid is a Chicago Blackhawk. Let's go. I am really excited to see what him advance to. That's going to be probably one of the best duos we've had since Agostino and Michkov. Let's go. Because now we look at our team here. We have 18 million in cap space for the RFAs. And yeah, we have an insane team. An insanely good-looking team. I'm really happy with how I've worked this cap so far on this team. Once we have to sign Vance to a big deal, then we're going to start being a little bit more problematic with the cap situation. But obviously, keeping Vance is always our top priority with this team. So let's begin the sim up to next season. And then we will sign our RFAs if they don't accept ahead of time, which more than likely they're going to try and hold out as long as possible. We're getting tons of trade offers, and this is really annoying. Like in MLB, I could get through this probably a lot faster. In NHL, I have to constantly say decline trade. I obviously could turn off this type of thing, but at the same time, I like getting offers thrown at me too. But when it pops up like literally every single day of the off season, it is kind of frustrating. Let's stop the simulation for a second, see if we got any leeway on those RFAs. Kind of out of my way. I need to stop the sim, man. God damn. Let's see. RFAs. We're at the end of July. Ovechkin wants 3.7 for a year. Let's do it. We got the cap space. We might as well just give them what they're wanting. But yeah, these two could honestly just be easily locked up for a couple of years, like 4 years as well. And then, yeah, Donald, you still want $7 million, but I'll give it to you. But you are literally going to be a UFA next offseason, and you're more than likely not going to come back. Because you do have a medium elite goaltender that's going to be your backup as well. And he's probably going to take the starting reins next season. That's my guess. Because we will be getting to see what Howden is like this season. There's 2 of our RFAs, and the other one should accept here. Yep, there you go. This is going to be really exciting. We also still have cap space, I think, by quite a bit. So we still could even make trades at the deadline if it's absolutely necessary, which I don't know if it will be. This team should be pretty automatic in terms of winning games, but you never know. Maybe McDavid is going to make this team trend down. I'm really excited to see what he does with Vance, though. Like, in the first 42 games, because we're going to sim 41 games of the season in this episode, how much goals does Vance have by that stage? In 41 games, I'm going to give a prediction and say 36. You guys could drop your predictions down below if you want as well, or you could just wait and to see what ends up happening. Man, I am so stoked. Oh boy, this is going to be awesome. Let's see what we got here. Oh my, and it's a +5, of course, because of the X factors, but still. We might actually put Nazar at the second line center spot because Kabanov's not as good at face-offs. And then Recchi obviously is going to go up here. Yo, this team is looking pretty nice, if I do say so myself. I like it. Package Slotty's listed as a third line scoring forward. I don't like that, because he's going to maybe complain about ice time. So Patterson in. Yeah, Little and Johansson depth. We're going to have to call somebody out as the depth option as well. Ovechkin on the top 6 kind of makes sense. Actually, yeah, we'll keep it like that. That's not bad. But we do need to put Ovechkin on the top line penalty kill. He already is. Okay, that's good. Because we need to make sure he's getting a lot of ice time if he's going to play on the top 6 pairing. McDavid should be on the first line power play. Yes, he is. That looks good to me. Okay, so the rest of that's all nice and set up. Let me see who's the other guy I wanted to call up as depth. I think, yeah, Demetrius Hart will be the other depth option. Because Lane Weeks is going to be down there in the minors for 1 more year since he's a 77 now. But he's on the cusp of the NHL, which is great. So yeah, let's call up Hart as the other depth forward. He's not that great of a depth forward, so I could have signed another one, but we'll still use him as a depth in the NHL for now. And then let's best AHL lines. See what we got looking like. Goalies. Oh my goodness, Howden's up to an 83. And listed as a starter. Yeah, Donald's time here is probably done, to be honest. But let's see what we got here. Depth, top 6. God damn it, Johansson. You're supposed to stay as a depth option. Yeah, I hope that Johansson doesn't complain. He did go to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, looks like, yeah, with Colorado against... Oh, he was on a team that eliminated us. Oh, that's why I maybe recognized your name. But, yeah, Vance McDavid Reefers. Ooh, yes. I could put Vance on the right side since he's a right-handed shot, but I feel like they're better on their off wings. I'm really digging this team. Really digging this team. So what do you guys think? 36 goals in 41 games? Or do you think even more? Because McDavid's coming off of, how much points? 96 points. Yeah, this top line's going to be completely filthy. Sucks to demote Nazar, but at the same time, he's playing with some good young guys like Recchi, who's only 26, Kabanov, who's 23. Then our third line is pretty underrated. Our fourth line's looking good with the addition of Brigley. I like this. Let's get into seeing what happens with this team, because I am very, very curious. I know I keep on saying that, but this might be the most exciting season we've had yet in Chicago. I don't know why the EA logo is loading randomly in the corner. They must have a server problem right now, because I've never seen it just randomly load on its own like that. So let's get through not spring training. Jeez, I just recorded MLB, so the preseason. So let's see what happens preseason wise. And look who Connor McDavid's first game is against with the Chicago Blackhawks. Fitting. Fitting that is the case. I don't think he was with Edmonton last season, though. Was he? Or was he? But if he is, that is just very fitting that his first game against his old club is, or with his new club is against his old club. I am very excited to see what Vance is looking like. Just watch, he's not going to score a lot because McDavid's going to score more goals or something like that. But I really hope we have another 50-goal season in the bag for Vance, at least. He might even have 60, like I said. He was kind of hybrid production in the preseason, 11 points in 7 games, 4 goals, 7 assists. Will probably be different during the regular season, though. You never know. Let's also take a look, though, quickly. I just want to see if McDavid was with the Oilers last season, because I know I just looked at his stats, but I honestly don't remember. What do we got here? Yeah, he was with Edmonton last season. So his first game gone from the Oilers is against his new team. It's funny because him and Vance have the exact same X factor too, which is the quick speed one. Except for you look at Vance, he's like a very good shooter. And you look at McDavid, he could shoot, but he's also got great passing. They're pretty much all really good players on that top line. So let's see what happens with the addition of Connor McDavid. We'll take it 1 month at a time, but we will go to game 41 at least in this episode. So it might be a little bit of a longer episode, but I really like these simulation episodes, obviously, because I like seeing what type of stats my players put up. And we put up 5 goals in the first game with McDavid and the second game with McDavid. The third game we pick up 4 goals. Then we pick up 3 goals, or 2 goals. Oh my. Wow, that's not a great way to start the season. Ovechkin's been injured with an MCL sprain. He'll be out till November the 23rd. So at least we have that youngster that we just signed in free agency who is listed as a top 6 defenseman. But we do drop 4 games in a row actually since that, so that's not good. 3-3-2, a little bit of a weird start, but maybe McDavid's just getting used to the new team. Actually, never mind. He's leading the team in points. 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points in 8 games. Yeah, that top line is filthy. Let's continue simulating. We're going to obviously keep the lineup the same pretty much the entire season unless we need to make any trades at the deadline, which I don't think we're going to have to. But once again, this team could randomly under-simulate. But it seems like on a lot of these wins that we're having like 5 or more goals in them. So means our offense is definitely doing as well as I expected. I'm not sure on how the depth scoring is going to be on this team, or if it's just going to be front-loaded because of our first line. But it's still been a really weird start to the season simulation-wise. We got a lot more losses than I'd like, but maybe that's a good thing, because we don't want to win the President's Trophy because we'll be a first-round exit. Let's take Johansson out, put Ovechkin back in. There we go. And there's a 6-5 loss. That sucks in regulation. Yeah, it looks like our defensive play is not doing too well, but then again, we just lost Cale Makar, so it might slide quite a bit. 11-8-4. We're in a wild card spot at the moment. Still early on, though. And Vance has got 20 goals in 23 games. Yeah, he's hitting 60 at least, I think, this year. Playing next to McDavid, he's got 35 points as well, so he's getting more hybrid production because he's playing with McDavid, who also could score, and Reefers, obviously, who could score. So, man, that top line is very exciting right now. 23 games in. Even though we're in a wild card spot, I am very much sold on our roster. So, I just think that it's going to be one of those seasons where the game makes us not have as good of a record during the regular season, but then when it comes to playoffs, we just pour it on or something like that. Because sometimes you have like really good seasons and then you do terribly in the playoffs, and then vice versa. So let's continue to simulate up to game 41. There's another 5 goals in a game for our team. I feel like that's been most of our wins. Pakishlotti's been injured. We'll go replace player. That kind of sucks though. He's a regular now in the lineup, which is kind of nice, considering last year we used him as a depth option and he was doing pretty well. So, okay, there's 3 wins in a row, and Pakishlotti is back. We'll take Donald Little out. Sucks using Donald Little as a depth option, but he definitely kind of regressed last season, so let's keep on simulating. Let's actually stop the sim so I can actually see what's happening. I hate that glitch. Yeah, now we're starting to win a lot of games. There's a loss, though, of course, after I said that. Bathgate on waivers. Not bad. Actually, really good defensively. Might fit in our top 4. He might be actually an okay depth defenseman, but I already have a depth defenseman, so I'm not going to claim him. That's still not bad. Yeah, our team is definitely losing a lot more than I'd like in this first half of the season, but we're probably going to have a really strong second half, more than likely, or a strong playoff performance. 21, 12, and 6. It's pretty good. How much games is that then? 39 games, and Vance is at 53 points. 27 goals, so he slowed down a lot goal scoring wise over the last little bit. So he only might hit 56 goals. He might not have as good of a season goal-wise as I thought, but hybrid production is going to be really good for him. So he's on pace still for over 100 points. So that's a good sign. So we got to do another 2 games. So Canucks and Ducks, and then we'll be exactly at halfway point. And we could take a look at what players have been up to. But of course, our top line is leading the team in points. Pierre-Olivier Joseph for a 3rd round pick. I don't need him, but thank you there, Ottawa. There's a win, and there's another win where we score a combined 10 goals. We are now leading the Central Division in points, so that's good. It's a good way to be at. And look at that, Vance now 58 points. Let's go. So he's on pace for 116 points this year, so that might be one of the best seasons I've ever had for a player, but he's only on pace for 56 goals. We know he has torrential second halves of seasons, though, so hypothetically, he might be off to a slow start goal-scoring-wise, but second half of the seasons, he usually picks up 30-plus goals down the stretch. So will he do that with McDavid is the question. If he does do that with McDavid, he could have like 120 points this year potentially. Let's take a look at team stats and player stats so far to see what is going wrong and what is going right. We are currently the 3rd best team in the NHL, and somehow the New York Rangers are the top team in the NHL. So I think they lost Ville Pettersson to free agency unless he re-signed there again. But the New York Rangers have really turned it around. They have really struggled in franchise mode here so far, but they've been really good this season. What do they got for lineup? Yeah, it looks like he left. They did bring back Skilly, which is funny. And Avery Potter is still there too, playing with Adam Fox. And then Comessa was still a backup for Sogard, so the Rangers are turning it around. That's interesting. Let's go goals for per game. They are the best offensive team. I wonder where Pettersson is now, though. I might have to check that. 3.61 goals for per game for us. Per top 5 goals against. Yeah, we're not the best defensive team like we were last year, but I'm still okay with where we are. We're like top 10. Our power play has not been good, though. With all that skill level, you think it would be better, but our power play is mid-table at 16.8, but that's still not great. 83.6. Looks like the special teams are a bit mid. A bit mid, if I'm being honest. But that doesn't really matter too much. 8-7-2 on home ice, but 15-5-4 on the road. So we're not winning in front of our home crowd. That's weird. Let's take a look at these player stats. See who has been doing what so far for this team. Oh my goodness, Vance and McDavid have the exact same stat line. That is amazing. And Reefers is below them by quite a large margin. Is Reefers slowing down that top line? Probably not. But I honestly don't know how he doesn't have as much points as these two. Reefers is not on the first line power play. That's probably the difference. I don't think he's on the first line power play. But these two are both on pace for 116 points. And yeah, Vance is on pace for 404 shots this year, which is crazy. And McDavid is just doing really well. They complement each other pretty damn good. Vance has 2 more shorthanded goals this year as well. Wow. Maybe Reefers is actually better down the middle, and that's the problem. And McDavid is really struggling with giveaways and takeaways. Vance this year for takeaways is fantastic. 61 takeaways and 19 giveaways. But McDavid's got 24 giveaways and only 7 takeaways. Interesting stuff from the top line. Still really digging it, though. Reefers, though, like I said, 41 points. Definitely struggling by comparison to these two, but I don't really care. Nazar, 28 points. Kabanov, 24 points. So, yeah, the scoring is a little bit diffed off on that second line. Like, it's mostly a first-line offense, but oh well. Brickley, 17 points on the fourth line. He's getting also some power play time. Not bad. He's developed up to an 80 overall now. Ziska, 10 points. Not too bad, but that's kind of mid for a third liner. Bales is kind of having a rough year, but he's maybe not getting power play time now. Package Slotty, 17 points. Patterson, 10 points. 2 assists in 4 games for Little. Oreki's up to 30 points, and Corrado's up to 20. So yeah, the depth scoring on this team, not super great yet, but maybe it'll be better in the playoffs. And then defensively, Brunstrom 25 points plus 12. Lowry 11 points plus 13. Morris 11 points plus 8. Spiller's got 10 points. Not bad for the rookie, plus 7. Niedermaki 8 points +5. Johansson's got 7 points in 14 games and a +7. This guy is actually pretty good. Maybe he should be a regular on our blue line, but then again, I'd have to get rid of somebody. And Ovechkin 5 points in 27 games. So the defensive core is doing pretty solid, but obviously I think the team might be lacking a little bit offensively just because we lost a great guy in Cale Makar. But hopefully Spiller and Niedermaki could be that type of guy in the future. Goaltending-wise, Easton Donald has regressed completely. He won the Vezina last season, but this year, his save percentage is way down. His goals against average isn't good either. So that playoff performance might have hurt him, who knows. But Aiden Howden's been a fantastic backup so far. He is listed still as a starting goalie. He's 6-2-1, 915, and a 238. Hypothetically, we could trade away Donald, run Howden as our starter, and then bring in just an average backup if we really wanted to. But I don't know if that's mandatory. That could hurt our team too. So there's that. Let's see who's leading the league in points right now, because I am curious on that front as well. Vance and McDavid are both leading the league in points. You love to see it. Next closest is Bedard with 52, Parks with 52, but literally McDavid and Vance are running the league right now, as we kind of expected when we wanted to sign McDavid. And yeah, both of them are leading the league in goals as well, tied with Bedard. Tikhonov is also up there. What happens if they both tie for the Art Ross and for the Maurice Richard at the end of the season? That would be really weird. Interesting. Let's take a look at some fun stats as well halfway through the year. Who is up there so far for Selke? Probably Anton Lundell is going to end up being up there. And Skula again. Most fights so far. This guy's already fought 23 times. Is this guy an enforcer? A grinder. But 23 fights, and this guy's played how much games? 37 games. What the heck? This guy's an old school player. Best defenseman so far. Brant Clark, 40 points, 38 games. Damn. And Cale Makar signed in Buffalo. Interesting that he decided to go to Buffalo for 2 years. So that's where Makar is now, in case you guys wanted an update on him. I didn't take a look at actually where he signed in. Also Lafreniere, but oh well. Oh well. Yep, that is our former Solovyov. He is actually doing really well. Kind of sucks that we weren't able to utilize him, but oh well. Artem Datsuk's also up there. He's now in St. Louis, so he's in our division. And goalie-wise, so far the best goalie. Drew Commesso is having a redemption arc with the New York Rangers. He was absolutely terrible the last few years in New York. He won a Vezina here with the Jets. Then he played like shit for 3 years. And now he's playing like the best goalie in the league. He's very inconsistent. But a 929 and a 2.15 so far for him. Wow. And the Rangers have not made the playoffs that much, but he's getting paid a lot of money, so he's finally starting to be worth his contract. So he might be a favorite for the Vezina at this stage. There's a lot of good goaltending numbers this year, though. Sweat has a 928 through 30 games. Like, why are a lot of these goalies all of a sudden playing so good? Like, it's like the goal scoring might be down in the league this season. Interesting. Best rookie so far. Kiskinen in New York. So they found a good prospect, I guess. But yeah, New York, that's good to see them starting to play a lot better. Because they were struggling for quite some time. Let me take a look at this for a second. Avery Potter, I felt like he would be up there if he was with Adam Fox. 15 points so far. Plus 28. Good stuff there, Avery. Do we miss you? Probably not, but still, good to see you succeeding. So there is that. Let me take a quick look at the trading block, and I think that'll be it for this episode. Not that we're going to make probably any trades this season, but we could honestly trade away Donald if we really want to and just run Howden, because Donald's been really struggling and he's a pending UFA. Get value for him while we can. Then we could just find like an average backup. Damn, there's another goaltender that's potentially a pending UFA in Boston. Oh, it's been an interesting season so far. I'm really excited to see how McDavid and Vance finish off the season, considering both are on pace for 116 points this year. Like, it's kind of crazy that they have the exact same stat line as well, like goal-wise, assist-wise, point-wise. So, I don't really think it's necessary for us to make any trades, but if you guys think of anything that you think would benefit this team, let me know. I'll also quickly take a look at the AHL, and I'll also see where Ville Pettersson went, because I need to take a look at where he signed in free agency. Also, Sean Cox, I guess we could take a look at too. Add a little bit more time to this episode, even though we're already around 30 minutes, I think. But I want to make sure you guys get as much knowledge about what's going on in the league as possible. So there's that. Is that Travis Hamonic? Probably not, right? Tiny Hamonic. What a name. Tiny. Brandstrom, Joseph, Baudin, Robertson, and O'Rourke. Zdina. Yeah, there's definitely some good players out there, but is it anything we need? Probably not. Because we already have guys in the system. Like, who knows? Maybe even Weeks got a lot of development. He's probably NHL bound. Ooh. If we were to trade away Donald, we could bring in Taro Barkov. He's got 2 years left on his contract, but he would be like our backup option, or like kind of like splitting time with Howden in a sense, and he'd be cheaper, and we wouldn't lose Donald. But I don't really know about doing that yet, because maybe we just want to keep with Donald until he goes to free agency. I feel like that's like a last resort type of thing, but there is that. And final team, the Winnipeg Jets. Boom. Okay, so that was that. Let's take a quick look at where those players that I was mentioning signed. So we gotta go to the player search. Where did not Sean Cox, Skylar Cox? That's what I meant to say if I said Sean earlier. I've just drafted a lot of guys with the last name Cox in this franchise type of thing. So Skylar and Cox. Where did Cox sign? He signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oof. And he's getting paid $5.885. Yeah, he would not be getting paid that much with us. And he's been solid, but his plus minus is terrible. Seems reasonable. But there you go, Toronto. With Skylar Cox. And the last guy we want to take a look at, Ville Pettersson. Where did he go after his time in New York? It's funny how New York gets much better once he leaves. He goes to Minnesota. So he's playing in our division. He's getting paid over $10 million, but only for 3 years. And he is struggling. Seems about right. He's very inconsistent, but he's now in Minnesota. We'll see if he's able to get back to the playoffs again after 2 years in New York, or 2.5 seasons in New York. So there we go. That is that. What was I also going to do? Oh yeah, take a look at the AHL quickly. That's what it was. Brunstrom. Wow, okay. Not the guy I was expecting to lead the AHL in points, but oh well. We're looking for Weeks. Weeks has been pretty good. He's up to a 77 still. Laura Kynan is still 70. Some guys aren't getting a lot of growth here, but hopefully some of them are in the NHL as soon as possible. Tugio and this Carlson dude aren't doing too well. Yeah, the AHL is kind of struggling a bit, but it is what it is. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate the rest of the season. We might make some trades if you guys think there's anything we should actually do. And yeah, hopefully this team has a good playoff run, because more than likely we're a playoff team. It's just about how far we're actually going to be this year. So anyways, think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.